and you can be the best designer this world has ever seen. But if you cannot present and explain your designs, your career is going to be pretty short-lived in the corporate world. By the end of today's course, you'll be able to send any design to a client or walk into any kind of presentation with the utmost confidence. Your clients don't come to you because they want a design necessarily. Deep down, they have a problem and they need that problem to be solved. But even deeper than that, each client has a story behind them, which is very important to understand, and here's exactly why. Now, if you understand your client's backstory, then your presentation or your pitch is going to just blow them away. Simply consider what makes your client stand out in the industry. Are they all about being eco-friendly, or are they pushing the boundaries with innovation and cutting-edge technology? Or maybe they're known for giving customers top-notch service. Think of special ingredients that make up their story and why they are in the position they currently are. By really absorbing their story, the graphic designer kind of gets a back row seat into their culture, what they like, and where they want to head. This deep understanding becomes the secret sauce for making sure your design matches up with who the client is, and the presentation can and should play right into this. So let's use the example that your client is known for providing a fast and a reliable service. Your presentation might highlight the brand's commitment to fast and reliable services by using taglines, slogans, or short phrases that communicate efficiency and trustworthiness. For example, you could use things like fast, reliable, always, secure, and so on. Sprinkling these words and these phrases into your presentation and your design decision making will play right into their story and their ethos. Having a clear and a concise graphic design process is really important, and I'm sure most of you are probably aware of that already. However, you need to demonstrate this to the client. You need to show your process and why it works. And it's best to do this in the presentation. It also shows clients that you've got a step-by-step way of solving their problem, and also by generating an effective design solution. This not only makes them feel more at ease, but also boosts their trust in you that you know what you're doing. When you lay out your design process out there for the world, it's like saying, hey, we've got this covered, really don't worry about it. And that confidence is contagious in a presentation setting. Your clients won't feel as if you've just plucked your design concept from thin air, and that the money and the time they've invested into you does now make good sense. It's all about building confidence and reassurance both subconsciously and consciously into your clients through the presentation. Remember that we said that the client comes to you because they have a problem that needs solving. Well, one effective and easy way to demonstrate that you understand their problem is with digital presentations, and for that I'm personally using walling. For example, right here on this rebranding project. Now I've started out at the top on walling stating the main objectives of the project itself. Or moreover, there is a little caption that states that, as a design team, we understand the value of knowing the objectives, the goals, and the client problems. Then moving down, I've listed the 3 main objectives, and you will notice that there is a clear brand color scheme with my presentation. More about that later. But yeah, it's really simple to add in the goals or the objectives using walling, and doing this at the start of the presentation sets us up for leading the client into our design logic, which is really important. And actually, to really make things next level, I'm going to add a new section here with walling, and I want to make use of the AI generative function. Now let's make a checklist using the objectives above. And that is so that we can either bring the client onto this wall and they can keep track of the project progress, or it's actually a really good addition in the presentation because it shows that we've actually met the criteria. But yeah, it's super easy to stack the content in a different style, for example maybe a list. And we can type in all sorts of information on the tasks at hand, even give ourselves a nice little reminder or deadline. And of course, when you've finished it, you can mark it as complete as well. And this will look really awesome and professional on any presentation. You're basically showing how organized you are and that you've met the task at hand. And you can of course edit the color and different aspects of the wall too. But let's look at the next part of presenting your work to clients. That's super important. So yeah, we're of course designers, and that means our presentation should also look like it's been created by a designer. There is nothing worse than a graphic designer presenting their work on a Word document or in a very slapdash kind of way. Here are some awesome tips that can make your presentations look professional and well made. And firstly, that is to have a running theme throughout your presentation. So the same fonts, the same color scheme, the same shapes, layout, and so on. As you can see for this fashion label presentation, I've gone with a pink and beige color scheme mixed with tones of black or grey as well, and that is seen throughout the entire presentation. Also, it's really nice to have branding elements sprinkled in too. So for example, the brand's color scheme is based around pink here, but I've also emphasized it here and also used the brand imagery as well. But also moving back to the top, we also see more brand imagery, but this time a video. But if you do add animations or imagery to express your message or your presentation of a design, you should take the opportunity and add it in. With walling, you can share polished pages and design them with your client's brand color schemes in mind, as you can see here. Also, unlike with Notion, there's no built with Notion or walling type button, and you can build highly customized layouts much easier without the hassle of customizing a Notion page, which I personally do prefer. But also check out this next tip. When it comes to presenting your work, focus on hierarchy. We have levels of hierarchy seen here from the main imagery focal point, then to the headings, and then to the final body text. Hierarchy and design principles should apply to your presentation just as much as they do to the actual design itself. Now, if you can perform this next skill, your presentations will be top tier. Customizing designs based on your client's industry standards is a critical aspect for delivering visually compelling, relevant solutions and advanced presentations. And don't worry if that sounds like a mouthful, we're going to look at it right now. This involves immersing yourself in the visual language of the typical aspects of that industry that your client is actually operated in. For example, if the client operates in the tech sector, the design might benefit from a sleek and a modern aesthetic. Your presentation will then likely make use of modern and sleek typefaces, colors, and layouts. On the other hand, a more traditional industry such as finance or law might call for a more formal and more conservative approach. Understanding the industry's color palettes, the typography preferences, and commonly used visual elements allows for your presentation to be styled in a very certain way. Your presentation will likely be an extension of the design itself, and that's in terms of the style and the visual language. So yeah, never forget this one bit of information. And again, of course, consistency reigns supreme. When you're considering color palettes, layouts, and visual languages for your presentation, it's always worth thinking about your client's brand identity. Now, if your client has a very strong identity, you might want to theme your pitch or your presentation based around their color scheme or the typeface they use. You might also want to start the presentation with a logo up in the header. Essentially, just respect your client's brand identity, and in doing so in the presentation, you probably will score some brownie points. Now, a lot of designers don't know how to finish their presentations, or they make one crucial error by forgetting what I'm about to show you right now. Remember at the start of this course, I said that every client has a backstory, and also they've come to you to kind of solve a problem in some way, shape, or form. One of the very last slides or screens you show your client should bring up that problem. Say for example your client needs a new social media presence so they can build a strong foundation online. You will come back to this problem and explain how it's actually been solved via the presentation and the concepts. And this might be achieved through bullet point aspects. Now here's a pro tip to you who has gotten to the end of this course. This tip will allow you to grow your career because, as designers, we want to form long-term relationships with our clients. Now your presentation will likely be the last thing the client remembers when interacting with you, and so if you make the experience professional and seamless, you will leave a great lasting impression on that client. However, you can easily continue the discussion and the relationship with your client over on Walling. Now again, using the nifty AI generator function, I've asked Walling to add a section for client and user comments or messages. It's unlikely to give me exactly what I want, but that's fine because customization is easy and I would say advisable. Now I want a nice location at the end of my presentation where the client can chime in with their feedback or their ideas, or even message me for future work, hopefully. Now playing with the layout here, I think it's probably best to go for a stacked approach, so something like this. We don't have an actual comment section yet, so I'm going to specifically ask for that with the AI. But also, I want to add in a social media accounts section as well. I think if we have all of that at the end of the presentation, it not only looks professional, but it's also functional too. And it's going to allow for quick access to client messages, and it really will keep the conversation flowing. Having this ensures that your chances for future work with any client will increase dramatically so. And I would of course suggest customizing the theme, the layout, the color, and so on. And it is super easy to do with Walling. And you can sign up to Walling and start organizing and presenting your work like a pro via the link in the description box below. And thanks to them for aiding me in making this course and also sponsoring the video as a whole. But yeah, if you want to learn some more graphic design goodness in kind of course form, just click the video on screen. But until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.